What makes a next-generation game, you ask? How about physics, particles, explosions, golf? Wait, what? Welcome to Dangerous Golf, the first game created by Three Fields Entertainment, an independent studio formed by Alex Ward and Fiona Sperry, the original founders of Criterion Games, creators of Burnout. And there's no doubt that the legacy is strong here. Take the crash mode from Burnout, replace the car with a golf ball, and toss in some of the most impressive physics interactions we've ever seen. Dangerous Golf runs on Unreal Engine 4 and it's available for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and, of course, the PC. Oh, and it's absolutely awesome. But it really wouldn't work without the crazy physics simulation. Dangerous Golf is all about breaking things, smashing things, and sending things flying every which way, and that's precisely what makes the game so fascinating for us. Every object in every stage has a set of properties assigned to it, enabling said objects to act and react according to its weight and material. Velocity is also taken into account here. Slam into a statue and marvel as chunks of stone blow apart in the direction of the ball. Plates can be stacked on top of one another and can be broken individually. Tables and other solid objects do appear to have predefined breakpoints, but they can also determine the direction and velocity of the objects resting on top of them based on how the ball collides. Bottles, books, jars, you name it, everything can break apart and collide and interact with the rest of the world. When it all comes together, it's quite a sight to behold. On top of all that, we have GPU-accelerated particles, which are used regularly, leading to some spectacular special effects, as particles realistically collide with the surroundings as well. On top of that, your ball also leaves behind a nice trail of smoke and particles as it flies through the air, which serves both to highlight its trajectory while also looking awesome. Man, these explosions of particles never get old. Let's see that again. Oh yeah. So, as this is Unreal Engine 4 we're talking about, it should come as no surprise then that the team was able to author very high quality materials across the game. Everything is physically based and sits realistically within the world. You spend a lot of time in slow motion in this game, and when you catch a glimpse of an object up close, it's really clear that a lot of detail has been poured into each and every one of them. The big picture and minutiae alike both allow the visuals to shine brightly. But on paper, this all seems like a recipe for disaster, at least on consoles. But it works! We'd imagine that many of the physics operations have actually been offloaded to the GPU in order to compensate for the lack of CPU grunt, but either way, the results are very impressive. But that doesn't mean there haven't been some compromises here. In this case, we're talking about frame rate. Dangerous Golf is capped at 30 frames per second on both Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, 30 frames per second isn't a big deal on its own, as the game itself focuses a lot on slow motion gameplay. But unfortunately, it suffers from some improper frame pacing in its current form. We're looking at PlayStation 4 right here, but if we jump over here to Xbox One, you'll see that it suffers from exactly the same problem. Fortunately, aside from this, the game does manage to hold a pretty steady level of performance, and the developers have told us that they are working to address this issue. On the PC, this is of course less of a problem. The game does first launch with the 30 FPS cap engaged, which also suffers from some improper frame pacing, but it's also possible to raise that up to 60 frames per second or simply disable the cap altogether, which completely fixes it. Now, beyond performance, we have image quality. Unreal Engine 4 features an incredibly high quality temporal anti-aliasing solution, which is in full effect here on all three versions of the game, though it can be adjusted on the PC. We also see a sharpening effect which, though perhaps a tad strong, does actually manage to work pretty well in this instance. Now, when it comes to resolution, we see a real advantage on PlayStation 4 with its full 1080p output. In comparison, the Xbox One version is running at just 800p instead. The anti-aliasing does help clean this up to a reasonable extent, but you will miss out on some clarity on distant details and textures in comparison. That's not the only difference either. Take a close look here. This detail, along with the loss of texture detail as a result of the resolution difference, separates the two console versions. But PC owners get an extra treat in the form of Nvidia Flex, a particle-based simulation technique enabling more complex physics interactions, perfect for dangerous golf. But what does that mean for the game? More particles, enhanced fluid simulation, and more detailed interactions between materials. It's not necessarily a game changer, but as you can see here, it enhances the experience and brings more impressive visuals to the mix, and in a game all about physics, it's a nice touch. Even better, even on a GTX 970 we were still able to hit 60 frames per second most of the time at 1080p. Still, while there are certainly differences here, the game manages to play well on all platforms, so you really can't go wrong, especially when you dig into the local multiplayer modes. That's when the game really comes alive. So if this all sounds like fun, I definitely recommend giving it a shot. And with that, we're out of time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, I do read the comments, guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is John signing off.